What is going on, everybody? Corey James here. So recently I was watching this video regarding the government's top secret program, ATIP, or the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, that was exposed a couple years ago by the New York Times, and it got me thinking, does this recent admission by our government that they are not only investigating these UFOs, but that they have no idea what they are, validate the ancient alien theory?
Tried to see what was out there, which is difficult when you know what you're looking for. It's even harder when you don't know what you're looking for.
Let's jump into both the ancient alien theory and this top secret program, ATIP, or the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, which is really a monumental story that I hope you pay attention to, because basically the government admitting that they are investigating UFOs and have no idea what they are, ergo, probably extraterrestrial. But first, let's get into the ancient alien theory, simply because it's a little more straightforward and to the point, and I have a feeling most of you probably have a good idea as to what this theory entails. But for those of you who don't, here we go. It was really Erich von Däniken who brought this theory into the mainstream with his publication of the 1968 best-selling book, Chariots of the Gods. Von Däniken highlights many ancient artifact stories and historic events, and he asks the question, were extraterrestrials involved? Were ancient astronauts responsible for the construction of most of our iconic and mysterious structures? And the most controversial question, are these ancient aliens the missing link between ape and man? Now, as you would expect, to claim that ancient aliens are responsible for the development, even the creation of modern humans, was not met with a lot of acceptance from the academic and scientific community, who called von Däniken's theory pseudoscience with no credible basis. However, today, this theory is more popular than ever, even among the academic community, simply because the evidence that we are not alone in the universe is scientifically overwhelming. Combine that with our modern technology and the ability to film or photograph anything, anywhere, at any time, plus the fact that no one can seem to keep a secret these days, I don't want to say it's a foregone conclusion that aliens exist, but it is not that far of a stretch to say these days. Which brings us to that very large piece of that video evidence, and the fact that no one can keep a secret anymore, the top secret program, ATIP.
The purpose of the program, Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, was really designed to do just that. From a national security perspective, identify those things that we see, whether we see them electro-optically, we see them with radar, we see them as eyewitness reports, through a myriad of different ways and avenues that we receive the information, and try to ascertain and determine if that information is a potential threat to national security, in a nutshell.
So what did you find?
Well, we found a lot.
Exposed back in December 2017 by the New York Times and the man who actually ran the program, Luis Elizondo, who claims that out of his office, which resided on the 5th floor of the Pentagon's C ring, he would receive, analyze, and assess a threat level to credible UFO sightings that in some cases come with physical evidence and in other cases, video evidence.
Nickel 61 Tango Roger, over.
Oh, got it! Woohoo!
Roger, there's troubleshooting as soon as I
Did you box moving target?
No, I took an auto track.
Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Wow, look at it fly!
Now, we have seen insiders expose top secret government programs before. However, those claims are often met with denial and silence from our government, but not this time. This time, the evidence was so overwhelming and authentic that it could not be denied, so it wasn't. After the stories and videos were released to the public, Pentagon officials admitted that the Defense Department spent $22 million investigating UFOs from 2008 to 2011. Now, I want that to sink in for a moment. Let's translate this admission just in case it hasn't sunk in. If the United States government, more specifically the freaking Pentagon, is investigating these UFOs, that means it is not ours. So, if it is not ours, that really only leaves one other possibility.
Kind of in awe a little bit, because you go, whoa, we don't have that. You know, and I'm talking, we're flying one of the premier airplanes on the planet. What was this? There is a capability out there, don't know where it's from, not saying it's from outer space, but not saying it's from here either.
Now, this is not where the story ends. Oh no, it gets so much better because this Luis Elizondo guy is no joke. This guy does not just publicly expose this super top secret program with super top secret videos, but he is now publicly forcing the United States government to not just admit everything, but change many of their defense protocols in the process. Because Luis Elizondo ain't alone. He's gathered a holy shit team of the elite with not just high-ranking government officials such as former White House Chief of Staff John Podesta and former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence Christopher K. Mellon, but both current and former United States Navy fighter pilots, including the pilot of the FA-18 Super Hornet from this video, and of course, funding the team, Tom DeLonge from Blink-182. Seriously, I'm telling you, if you have not read this story, you need to, and if you have read it, read it again, and then tell someone else to read it. Also, tell them to subscribe to my channel, but only after you subscribe to my channel, which you can actually do right now while we watch this video.
Dude, there's a fucking drone, bro. There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA.
My gosh.
They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude. That's not our LNS though, is it? It's not.
That is the LNS, dude.
Well, if there's like...
Look at that thing.
It's rotating.
The United States is not the only country that has released footage from military aircraft capturing UFOs in their skies, making this a global phenomenon. And I bring this up because the ancient alien theory is a global theory. And if this global acceptance that we are not the only game in town, doesn't that technically validate the ancient alien theory? Think about it. We have insanely smart people who hold degrees in things I can't even pronounce saying extraterrestrial life exists. We have academics and scientists saying extraterrestrial life exists. Astronauts and NASA officials, both current and former, saying extraterrestrial life exists. So I think we can safely say extraterrestrial life exists. And they are clearly intelligent, highly advanced beings that seem to be technologically superior to anything we know. So it would be a safe assumption that if they are here now, they've been here before our ancient past. Now let's be clear, I am in no way saying that I believe in everything the ancient alien theory claims, but some parts do make sense and answer a lot of the questions about ancient structures like the Great Pyramids of Giza, Göbekli Tepe, Stonehenge, and numerous other sites that have unanswered questions and mysteries surrounding them. But for me, the clearest evidence is, well, the clearest evidence. Ancient petroglyphs and cave carvings that exactly mirror what millions of people have claimed to see in our skies, or in the extreme cases, claim to meet. The ancient stories that exactly mirror the thousands of stories we hear from people who have claimed to see a UFO, and the unbelievable knowledge that these ancient people possessed in astronomy, mathematics, agriculture, and technology that leaves scholars speechless as to how this is possible. And seriously, how is this possible? How is it that an ancient tribe of indigenous people like the Dogon, located in Mali, West Africa, who possess no technology, no literature or written history, no science or mathematics, no religion, believing only in spirituality and being one with the earth and Mother Nature, yet they possess knowledge about a star that we didn't even know existed until we invented high-powered telescopes.
What amazed these anthropologists was that the Dogon tribe possessed knowledge of the Sirius star system that no ancient people should ever have possessed. What they couldn't understand was how it was they had knowledge of a Sirius B, which is a white dwarf star. It's the smallest form of visible star that we know of, and we can barely see it with modern-day telescopes.
Sirius B, a white dwarf star, the smallest, most undetectable of the stars that can only be seen with the use of a modern, high-powered telescope, yet this ancient tribe not only knew about the star, they knew its orbit, its size, even the density. How do you explain that?
They claim that a group of what could only be described as alien creatures called the Nomos descended down to Earth, and that this group of beings imparted to them the knowledge that they then possessed about the Sirius star system.
How do you explain ancient sites and structures that are so mathematically, geometrically, and geographically accurate that today, with all of our advanced modern technology, we cannot reproduce it, or explain how they actually constructed it in the first place? How is it that almost every culture from every continent, despite being separated by thousands of miles and years, tell identical stories with identical depictions of what seems to be the same gods, who were taller, stronger, and possessed the knowledge and technology of the universe coming from the stars? In some cases, the same star or constellation, and not only imparting knowledge and technology, but actually living among the people as their kings and rulers. That fascinates me because the clearest answer to all of these questions seems to be the one we don't want to admit. However, it seems to be the only one that makes sense. And you can call these beings whatever you want: aliens, gods, angel. The name really doesn't matter. The most likely fact that our ancient ancestors had contact with another race of beings that came from the stars and imparted knowledge, technology, and stories that we still worship today. But of course, this is just my opinion. I want to know what you think. Could this exposure and acceptance of the existence of intelligent extraterrestrial beings lead us to answering the questions that the ancient alien theory seems to have the answer to? Leave your comments below, and if you enjoyed the video, do me a huge favor, hit that like button, and while you're at it, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much everyone for coming by, checking out my video, and I'll see you on the next one.